Hi guys, you're listening to the Cask Culture podcast with Lee Robinson, aka Whiskey with Lee. Tell everyone a wee bit about yourself, about your background, and about the
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah, I suppose my own name is Killian O'Mahony. I'm a cooper by trade. I've been coopering for, 13 years now. Um, yeah, so I've been a while in the trade, but absolutely loved it. I've I suppose a history and an interest in woodworking my whole life. And I went to all the courses I could to study furniture making and restoration and things like that. But I started my coopering apprenticeship in 2013. Did a bit of traveling with that. Been working in the industry and still am working in the industry the last 13 years. But we've actually started a family cooperage, my own family, O'Mahony Craft Cooperage, where we're able to focus more on bringing back the faction of household coopering. So making vessels like tankards and miniature barrows and churns and herring casks and wash tubs and like tumble churns, all sorts of stuff that like you just don't see out there anymore, but only 100 years ago was in every single house, every
Yeah.
porch, So it's really nice, man. What I've seen in coopering in that time, I suppose, like when I started in 2013, I was the first apprentice cooper in Ireland in 40 years, and
Yeah,
skills base was just gone out of the country. So I had to do quite a bit of traveling to kind of learn it and bring it back that way. But in that time, there's now over a dozen lads on benches, qualified coopers, and a couple of apprentices around the island on benches doing repairs for distilleries and independent cooperages every day. And it's amazing to see that growth in that time. But what it's also given me is the opportunity to focus on another faction of the craft and the trade now as well.
yeah, no, that's amazing. Amazing to see something that was sort of a dying out
Yeah.
being sort of brought back because as you say, because what probably when you were starting there was what two Coopers, maybe three in Ireland.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because I know obviously the big boys down in Cork
Yeah,
have their own,
yeah, yeah.
and then Bushmills.
Bushmills, yeah, and I worked with Chris Kane up in Bushmills and his dad Alistair.
Yeah,
Absolutely bang on lads. I worked with them there maybe 10 years ago, and it was literally myself and Chris at the time were the only two apprentices on both ends of the country, and that was it. There was no talk, there was no sign of new apprentices coming on. But I suppose as the Irish whiskey industry has lifted over the years, as the craft breweries, craft distilleries started getting stronger, the demand obviously then for more casks grew. So man, it's amazing. Literally, like there was a time that you couldn't bring a fella that's in woodworking that would name any Cooper's tools, like wouldn't even
yeah,
know what they're looking at. But now there's young fellas in their 20s, 30s that are paying mortgages and raising families by the tools that are on the benches repairing the barrels today. It's just
that's
a really
amazing.
cool fact that that's where
Yeah,
we're in. And like even you said, like it's dying out, and it was like, and it's like the last 100 years between with war and World War brings invention and brought rolled steel, which brought the steel keg, which decimated brewery coopering. You had plastics invented, cellophane, Tupperware, which decimated household coopering. But if you go like a couple of decades before that, there's nobody would have told you that coopering will ever be dying out because it's in every single house, every tankard, every noggin, every gill that you pick up. Like down in Cork alone in the 1800s. Have you heard of the fucking crane in Cork? No,
no, but
it's yeah. Go ahead.
I
No, it's
know, I just sort of know what you're talking about.
yeah, and it was named after literally a crane that used to lift the firkins onto
The
the
fucking
ships.
casks.
Literally, yeah, so they're 40-liter casks. What have I fucking here? No, it's about a 30-liter, so a little bit bigger than this. And they were literally making 6,500 brand new firkins every single week in Cork just to be lifted by the firkin crane to go on the boat to be shipped out for export, the export industry in dairy and butter. Like mind blowing. That was only 150
Yeah,
years ago, like. So no, it was part and parcel. Everywhere you go, there would have been a vessel in every single building you walked into. So to hear that it went from, oh no, it's dying out, and that's what everybody kind of knows about coopering, to wait, hold up, there's actually now a family cooperage doing household coopering for the first time in the country in nearly probably over 80 years since this faction has been
amazing.
put no vessels. Like so, yeah, it's a good news story again. Thank God.
Yeah, and especially because obviously they sort of the rise, as you say, the rise in whiskey.
Yeah.
It also brings the rise in people who want the quality, old style stuff
Mm.
that we used to have, the traditional means and methods that we used to have
Yeah.
to make to make the craft, to make the spirit that we love. Do you know?
Yeah. 100%.
It's great to see that, and as you said about the Firkins and stuff,
Mm.
it's great to see the small wee miniature casts and the Firkins and stuff being done again, but
Yeah.
being available
Yeah.
to just the whiskey lovers out there.
And that's what we're trying to hone in on as well. Like the firkin making industry is never going to be back to where it was in the 1800s. We don't need
Yeah,
firkins to transport butter anymore. No, there is a fella, Ewan, he's a buddy over in England. He's a brewery cooper, the only brewery cooper that is left as far as I know, and he's banging out firkins every day for a brewery over in England. And they're keeping the tradition of it alive, like, and the fact that he's well followed on Instagram. And the fact that that's like in the zeitgeist where people now are learning about coopering, are seeing
yeah,
firkins being made every day. It's absolutely mind blowing, like. But no, I think that's what we get to focus on now as well. Is it's not just a firkin just to hold something. No, we're making like high performance maturation casks for the whiskey lovers, like.
yeah,
There's some of the stuff we're after making the last couple of weeks. There's some stuff I can't even talk about because it's for private whiskey clubs that have ordered their specialty wood selection that has been seasoned with a certain type of wine or sherry made to a certain size, and they have bought a 16-year-old whiskey off a distillery in the country, and they're going filling it in that for the next
unbelievable.
six to 12 months, and they're going to open it then on their inaugural kind of whiskey club meeting and stuff, like. So the fact it's people are looking for that craft, that connection, and actually what's happening behind the wood and the spirit. But I notice it myself every single time somebody comes up here and either has a miniature barrel in their hands or especially a tankard. And when you actually pour beer into the tankard and you see the reaction between the beer and that it's a live product, but when you're holding it and you're drinking out of it and you can smell the wood, because like I retain the inside of the cask, the char and the staves and the soaked whiskey
Yeah,
that's into it. So when you pour it in and it's actually swelling, like you're getting all of that flavor, you're getting that impact, like a sensory experience, but it changes people's minds, like because you have that wood, you're feeling it, you're having a full sensory experience, and like that's really what I see of value for people is it's changing our drinking experience, and I think it's getting back to something that we're after losing.
yeah. No, that's amazing. Um, just when you're saying about Firkins, because the only reason I sort of half knew what a Firkin was
Mm.
because there's a distillery up here, Copeland,
Yeah,
was they dealt a wee bit with Firkins and wee
nice.
bits and pieces, and they actually have, if you check their website, they actually have a build your own Firkin.
Nice.
So it's basically you can pick I think you can pick the style of whiskey. So
Yeah,
if you want single posture, single grain, single malt, blended, whatever, and then you can pick what I think it's what word it goes into and what finish it has.
yeah.
So then you can
Jeez.
and then you know you can do it on the website and calculate your price, and then you can
Class.
ring them and order it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a nice idea, man. I'd like to see that more on the domestic side as well, supporting that from the cask perspective and the wood perspective, because obviously, like we're in OMCC, O'Mahony Craft Cooperage is entering into a market of mass industry, like everything that we've been talking about coopering dying out and trades dying out and factions dying out, it's because of the modern invention and mass production, like.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of highly produced or highly mass produced casks and stuff that are out there that aren't meeting the kind of quality standard and especially kind of served from home. So there's Firkins and there's 32 and 60 liter casks. They're all going into warehouses. And they're kind of like heavy char and stuff, so you have to filter them after they come out of the barrel and stuff.
yeah,
So there's a lot of places aren't going into the depth that we would in terms of the presentation and quality of the inside of the cask that you can serve directly from the cask as well, like. But I love it. That's kind of where I suppose it looks like the market is going in a sense of alcohol itself and the drinking experience and spending more on premium products to enjoy the craft behind it rather than the cheap stuff down the bottom shelf in the fridge in in the central. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's becoming more of a sort of premium market, but it's not just about the drink itself, as you say there, and drinking the beer. It's about the whole experience. It's people
Yeah,
are after experiences, not just
yeah,
as you say, a quick go grab whatever is on offer there.
yeah,
They're they are going after premium spirits, premium drinks
yeah.
because they live with a certain type of experience while you're having them.
Yeah, and like that's what people like putting their time into, their thought into. People love the whiskey industry and the craft behind it for hundreds of years, like, you know. So it's not something that's going to die out. The support is always going to be there, and I think a lot of places are recognizing they have to meet the customer out there now with the craft element of what they're doing. So no, I'd like to see more initiatives of that around the country. I'd say more people are going to be picking it up, all right, you know.
Yeah.
But sorry, I was just going to say there as
No.
well. It's what I'm kind of finding out as we're kind of starting this venture and stuff is staying away from the mass-produced machinery style and trying to get loads of things out and grow a business that way. I'm much more about the quality and the craft of what we're doing with handmade products, like, you know. So when I
Yeah.
say that we're like specially selecting our staves from casks, like it's not just like, oh, we're taking the wood from, no, we're actually going in and we're finding the exact point in the stave that has the most whiskey soaked into it in the tide line, like, you know. Actually, there's something there, but that's just a barrel stave there now. But it's been used 3 or 4 times, and like over 15 or 20 years, like that whiskey is soaked so deep into the wood, like, you know, like
Yeah, so far in the
that's
green.
exactly, like that's even that. It's literally nearly through the entire length of the stave. So I know there's plenty seasoning in that wood, and that's what I'm looking for, and that's something that's going to make it into our casks or into our tankards, like, you know. And like the char on the inside of it, we clean the char. Maybe rechar if we need it, but clean it after. But we're retaining as much of the inner part of the stave as possible. And
Yeah.
it's because it's true to nature. It's not a gimmick. Like, we're literally trying to bring this exact piece of this wood of this stave that has had the history of being in that cask, and we're trying to put that into a vessel and retain that history for people to experience and people to have and drink from it, you know.
Yeah. And
Love it.
so, as you said about tankards and firkins and stuff, what
Yeah.
what other sort of products are you doing?
Well, do you know what's actually wild, man? I never thought I'd say it in my life, but I'm so busy with churns, butter churns.
Because
That
you had said to me about getting one out, so and I was like, I say
literally,
that's what I
yeah,
wanted to ask about because I was like, fuck
yeah.
a butter churn. Like
I could,
I was at Ulster Folk Museum the other
yeah,
week, and we
yeah,
walked in and there was butter churn, and then when you said
yeah,
to me, "Oh, I have to get butter churn now," I'm like,
yeah.
"Fuck, are people still, is that
But
coming
yeah,
back?"
and this is coming from the fellow who's like opening up the business, trying to get churns out there. I didn't realize there was actually such a demand for churns. Like, I appreciate your patience. Last week, I know we're supposed to tie up, but literally, I got 3 calls in the one day and an email of assessing 4 different types of churns. So there was like this thing behind me here is a plunge churn. This is 6 liters, one-handed, domestic size, literally kind of sit out there, sitting on a stool, and it's churn away. And it has a plate on the bottom of
Aye,
it, put the
but if
cream
some,
into it, and it just over whips, and just plunge until it literally just turns into butter, right? So that was the template that I used to make an 8 liter maple churn.
that's
So the
amazing.
maple is food safe, that it's got antimicrobial material. So as it stuff soaks into it, the antimicrobial properties stop any bacteria growth. So food safe woods are important when you're changing vessel from,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So we have that tankard. Oh yeah, so that was a double-handed maple plunge churn. And the day it got collected, it went down to West Cork, and that evening they were churning butter with it in a Sea of Traditions festival with Max Jones down in West Cork. They commissioned it to be able to literally make the butter from scratch. Sent me videos of it after, and I was like, "Holy! Like, here it is! Like, this is it. This is actually happening. It's not just like I'd love to see these vessels come back. I'd love to make these pieces and get them back into the world. No, there's
it's
people actually
amazing.
looking for them." buying them and then using them. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
The same guy, right? We've this one on. We're just finished up there. Is a herring cask. I'll actually pull it down out of the stand. Lovely. It's a 30-liter cask made out of chestnut and French oak. The reason I chose those two woods is literally because of the smell of it after I charred it. There were spares from other casks, so I put them in because I think the influence that it's going to have on the fish brine is going to be unbelievable. So it's not just like whiskey and beer and the alcohol kind of market. It's all of the stuff I've studied for like the last 13, 14 years. I get to actually bring back history and tradition wise, like, you know.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so sorry, and this was a hazel hoop. So actually a wooden hoop as well, just to give a nod to the tradition because the steel hoops only came around like 1940s and after, so it would have been a lot more hazel hoops and a lot more of them. So it's more of a nod to tradition. But what they'll actually do is they will salt fish inside it. So they'll put a layer of salt, a layer of filleted herring, and then salt, herring, salt, herring, salt, herring, all the way up until they fill it to the top. And then I made this independent stand, which basically you can push and press it down, open the wooden tap, and then drain the brine out of the bottom. So they're going salting the fish, preserving it with a traditional vessel, and then the brine that comes out of the bottom, they're actually going to use as lantern oil. So like making, sure, the old lantern lights that you used to put oil
Yeah.
in, like, yeah, they're going to use the brine and the fish oil out of that to light the lanterns in the house as well.
That's
Like
amazing.
you can't get closer to the real thing, like, you know.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like I wasn't around when they used lanterns, like, but
No, it's cool, man. Like, and I suppose the ethos behind the business itself is it's not just like reclaimed and recycled materials. We use green energy. We produce our own energy here. It's all traditional techniques, but it's about reviving a faction that people have felt like we've lost and get it back into our hands. So the fact that that churn is churning butter, the herring cask is going salting fish immediately once it goes down there. There's a couple of barrels going to America as wedding presents for people that they've bought and giving as wedding presents. There's a tankard heading to the UK and one to Colorado. So it's just the fact that it's not just like, oh, I get to do what I love and bring this tradition and this faction back, but people get to do what they love and change their drinking experience by supporting a business, but also buying
yeah.
something that's handmade from the true artifact, like, you know.
But
I'm buzzing
even
with it now.
but even changing their eating experience because the
Yeah,
butter churn, you
yeah,
can it's a pride in doing that and then being able to sit down and say, oh, that was hand
yeah,
churned by myself,
yeah,
or there's the fish being
yeah,
brined,
yeah.
preserving the fish, and then you're having it, and it's changing the culinary experience too.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of kind of foodie industry and stuff have been reaching out, which I didn't really expect, but you hit the nail on the head. That's what it is. Like it's changing the option for people in their own kitchens, which is like there used to be a tradition in Ireland where like you go to anybody's house, you're calling over for a chat or whatever, you churn while you're in their house. So like it was just expected. You come over, you're sitting out having a cup of tea or a chat or whatever, you churn the butter while you're in somebody's house because there's always butter being churned. So it was just a known tradition that you go over to somebody's house, expect that you'll be churning because when they call over, they're churning your butter because it was always going. But like those things have just been completely lost. There was also like, obviously there was distillery, wet coopering, which is brewery and distilling,
Yeah,
and then you had dry coopering, which was transport for like nails, fruit, dry goods, flour, things like that. And then the household coopering or the white coopering, which is what we're doing. There used to be one in like every village, every town, every dockyard. Like when a couple would get married, you would send them down the newlywed ticket to the family cooperage, and they would have made two tankards, two bowls, two tubs, a wash tub, a domestic churn about 5 to 10 liters, and another couple of spatulas, but another couple of vessels like that. That it was just the common, oh, they're getting married, they're setting up a house, they're going to need the newlywed package that everybody in the family has a vessel. Like that's how
yeah,
important it was.
that's amazing. And is there anything so far that you have in your mind? You think I hope someone commissions it so that I get the.
Oh, that's a good question. Now, do you know what? There's one. I'm going to show you a example I had from a guy. So when I went to Scotland in 2013 when I started my apprenticeship, and on my travels I met a guy called Ian Andrews. Now I've had some unbelievable mentors along the way, like Carlos in Spain when I was working over there, Kevin McLaughlin and William over in Kelvin Cooperage in America. Scotland, there was lads that I worked with that were from Glasgow, from Edinburgh. There's a fellow working in Australia now, Castbridge. Just amazing mentors, you know. Brian Tees and John Carberry. But Ian Andrews, when I met him, he was 72 years of age and he was working in his shed out his back garden. He had worked in 3 different cooperages, King George's, the Fifth, VAT 69. And when VAT 69 closed down, he opened up his own small cooperage. He was a lot of the inspiration for this place, O'Mahony Craft Cooperage, and what we do here, to be honest. He taught me so much about all these vessels, household coopering and all that, but he was commissioned at one point to make recreation vessels for the HMS Invincible, I think. It's the Invisible. I might have the name wrong, but there was this old British wooden ship that was scuttled, and when it was scuttled, it settled in the silt, and everything that was under the silt was preserved. So when they brought it back up, they rebuilt it, they turned it into a museum, they got examples of the vessels, and they asked Ian Andrews to make all of these different vessels. You had match tubs, things now like I wouldn't have heard of if I wasn't there at the time when he got the commission. Match tubs, which were little basic buckets with copper hoops that you would stick the match to light the cannons into. So it would just hold sand, but you would take the match out of it, light the cannon, and put it back in the bucket. So very specific vessels for very specific jobs, right?
That's cool.
One of the things that Ian gave me was a gift from himself that he got from the museum who was rebuilding the ship, you know, and it was this. This is part of the head that was actually pulled out of the silt, still preserved. It's like over 250 years old. You can still see the tool marks, the basil in the head. This is an actual stave from the miniature cask. So it's about a firkin size, to be fair. You can still see the crows, the groove where the head sits, like all handmade, you know. The reason they gave him this example was so he could recreate them, and on the front of it you could probably see etchings there. It says GPC. It's a gunpowder cask.
Unbelievable.
The patina, can you see the green here?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
That's from copper. So these had copper hoops on them. Everything behind me or everything you'd see is steel. You might see hazel wooden hoops, but these had copper hoops on them, copper trimmings, very thin, charred on the inside, but had gunpowder. The reason it had copper hoops was so it wouldn't spark. If there was one spark on one of these casks, the whole ship was gone. So these had to be absolutely bang on because they were literally holding explosive material. So if that's just whatever vessel came to mind when you said if there's anything that you can make. This is one I've never made. I've seen the pictures of when he made it. There's absolutely no need for gunpowder casks anymore. There's much safer ways to do it. But just to bring back the nod to history and the people that were literally making these casks to carry gunpowder around, man. That's the type of stuff I love. I've taken on a couple of projects like that just for myself to be like, I want this vessel to exist in the world again, like, you know.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
That's an exciting one.
That's a very good one, especially like with having them examples there. Like you're sitting with a piece of history there, you know.
100%. I actually usually have it wrapped in cling film, trying to preserve it, and I think I might put it in a box with like a little plaque of what it is like.
Yeah, it's definitely good to hold on to stuff like that and obviously preserve it, and the fact that you can see the etchings on it.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah,
and you know the hand cut marks and of what the tourists have used.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Like I think it's probably what I've learned most from like the boys that taught me, man. Ian, Brian Tees, John, like all the lads that I learned from. Every time I met them, they were so excited to share, like to see a fella that's curious, a young fella that wants to work and is curious about what's going on. they were so happy to share and pass on and preserve that knowledge. So like the same way I'm trying to preserve these vessels and bring them back to life, it's the same thing I need to do for the boys. It's the same thing I need to do for my mentors. They worked so hard to pass it on to me.
Yeah.
It's a respect for them. It's a respect for the trade to be able to. It's a privilege, like, you know, to be able to respect it and for me to be able to carry it on and keep this stuff alive, man. It's what I owe them at the least, anyway. You know.
Yeah, of course, because at the end of the day, if knowledge isn't passed on, it
Hmm.
dies. You know,
Yeah.
it needs as you've been passed on to the next generation, the
Yeah.
new guys coming up, and it's good to see that at a time when you said what 13 years ago there was maybe two apprentices, now
Yeah.
there's maybe 20.
Yeah.
It's just great to see that rise again.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's the same with this, man. Like, I suppose family circumstances changed for ourselves earlier in the year, so that meant I kind of had to figure out a part-time situation at home where I could work. But I suppose that is hopefully developing into the future of this faction in coopering, where it's a family cooperage. You can bring somebody on in the family, train them up, have an apprentice in this faction of coopering for the first time in maybe 100 years, you know? It's all like every kind of step we make with it is actually a pretty important step for the trade itself. So it's yeah, man, it's a privilege just to be involved in it, to be honest.
Yeah, of course, and even as you say from the domestics review, but
Yeah.
even I know in commercial ways of whiskey, but it's stuff like when you talk about like I love a stout finish whiskey,
Mm.
just something, but no one, there's very few people actually do it now because
Yeah.
there's no one, no breweries really using
Mm.
wooden casks. It's all
Yeah.
kegs. So
Okay. That.
if I bring that back a bit, do you know
Yeah.
it can go into a new sort of flavor profile again
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
whiskies
100%. Yeah.
and you know do that with other spirits and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
like that's one of the most exciting things I've been a part of. I've got to work on a lot of projects in terms of maturation and the whole learning experience of what wood is, what it does, but the pre-seasoning of casks and how that changes a wood's contribution by what it's seasoned with before, how long it's been in there. Like that's why I love like the boys that are texting me now and all the buddies that have the miniature barrels at home and have a 2 liter
yeah,
or a 1 liter, it's blowing their minds like because the experimentation that you can do. No, I haven't seen a fella throw a stout into it to season the barrel and then get the whiskey out of it, but it's absolutely something you can do if you're looking after the cask, you know.
yeah,
There's a couple of lads there now. One of them, he can't figure out how the wine tastes out of the barrel after a week because it only survives in there 5 days by the time he clears it out. Because he said it's changing so much in a few days in the 1 and 2 liter casks that he just can't keep it in. He just wants to drink it. So he's going to try and put it away and hide it from himself, put 2 bottles of Rioja into it and stash it away for 2 or 3 weeks before he goes back then.
I actually think a guy I know might have got one off here, Daniel,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
Polish
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
from
won
Big
the
Apple.
competition, OMCC's giveaway competition, was it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a customer. We'd get a giveaway competition there a couple of weeks ago. It was a Cooper, Darren Leonard up the country won the brass one, and I think it was Daniel. It was not only about whiskey on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
He got, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, two
you
liter.
lucky bastard.
He- Yeah, yeah, it's a good one. That's a 2 liter. I think he put wine into it. What I'm seeing with the wine is there's quite a bit more wicking through the end grain of the stave than there is the whiskey. So I think tradition wise in the hogshead wine casks you see a longer chime. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking that's probably to stop the wicking. So with those 2 liters, I'm going to go higher on the chime so people can experiment between the
yeah,
wine and the whiskey, season your cask, age your whiskey. Because it's a gift that keeps on giving kind of thing, like, you know.
yeah. Of course, and like
Yeah.
even there, just as you said about the hogshead, and obviously seeing that with the two layers,
Yeah.
even that in itself, there's a new learning curve,
Yeah.
you know,
100%. Yeah.
from customers
Yeah.
getting it and starting to experiment with it. But it's
Yeah.
something I would definitely, I think I would definitely try a stout one.
I'd go for it, man. There's a couple of lads. They got a batch, same whiskey club that had the 40 litre firkin. They got a cask each. There was 5 of them went out, and each one has put a completely different spirit into it. I think one guy went with rum at the start, so they're like starting off with totally new flavor profiles. But when you compound it then over time, like after the second fill or the third fill, it's such an intense contribution from the small casks because the wood to spirit ratio. So the casks are smaller. There's a lot more wood coming in contact with the spirit than there is a 200 litre barrel.
Yeah.
So it ages and it matures much quicker. Like if you put a 200 litre barrel in a warehouse for 3 years, in a 5 or 10 litre cask, you would get a very similar outcome and a very good idea of what's going to happen in the bigger cask by putting it in a smaller cask for 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
It would be very heavy with wood tones, which is what I'm like anyway. I like kind of heavy Riafkas, round, Irish pot stills, good round bodied flavors. Like, so I like maybe European oak, but heavy, like, more oak influence, the better for me. But I've got my head inside in the barrel at 7 o'clock every morning, being woken up by the smell of whiskey. Like, so I probably need those more intense flavors coming through, like,
Nothing like a good wake up call.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, like, every one of those casks is now becoming a completely unique profile. Like, if you take all those casks back in a year's time, and then you put the same spirit in all 5 of them, you're going to come out with 5 different ones because of the character of each individual cask. So as somebody is experimenting with their own flavors, you're literally building your own cask profile that then over time, I put this whiskey in it, I'm going to get this out of it, and that's what I like.
That's amazing, and it's amazing that you're able to do those experiments at home.
At home, man, yeah.
Yeah. And I think also that ties in a good point with one of the first guys I had on was Oisin, the former head distiller of Clonakilty.
Oh, lovely.
And he's launching a blending program, so
nice.
It would tie in well, obviously bringing the whiskey out and blending as well.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just sort of a home course.
Yeah, that would make absolutely perfect sense. I might actually tie up with them because it is an education bridge.
Yeah.
That we're seeing is the gap, and people have said to me, like, everything that I know and everything I've studied, it's all up here, it's in my head. I want to be in my workshop working away at building these things, but to actually get that information out and educate the market of what you can do with this, there is some skill involved. If you can do a blending course or an independent blending and learn what you like, so when it comes time putting in your cask, happy days. But it is about learning as you go. But I think, like, something like this, I really appreciate this opportunity because this is what I like. I like to chat to people who like to talk about what we're doing.
I appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to me because it's something I've always been interested to learn a wee bit more about is the coopering side of things. And as I said there, it was there was 3 cooperage on the island, and you couldn't really. There wasn't many people to actually speak to.
Yeah.
Then when we linked up, that's why I was like, yes, have to get him on because I need to learn a bit more about this.
Yeah, delighted, man, because it's been my hyper focus for a good portion of my life, and I've spent the time in places nobody goes, talking to a lot of old fellas that are quite shy, and that aren't forthcoming with information. But I've spent so much time with these guys that it's just been almost like a personal endeavor to learn and to care for the trade, really. But I'm only kind of now realizing, hey, I made a wedding barrel, the 16-litre cask sitting over here for myself and my wife's wedding, and I've been experimenting in that for over 10 years, and it's oh yeah, people would like to do this as well because that's what I'm doing and it's what I enjoy. So I appreciate the opportunity of even trying to get some information of how it works and all that, because I have quite the bridge to go, I think, in terms of getting the education out there of what each wood type is like, how to maintain your cask, what to expect. And again, a lot of it comes down to experimentation, but to buy a premium product, to commit and say, this is something I want to do, I want people to be excited about it because it is a serious opportunity that we're trying to bring back a new drinking experience,
Yeah, you could even, well, just a suggestion, you could even do like a wee booklet
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to go along with them, just to
yeah.
sort of examples of
Example,
just examples of what you can expect of putting
yeah,
different, if you were to put wine in or rum or port or, do you know,
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
to give
exactly.
people a wee bit of a guide.
For sure. We just got things printed yesterday, our cask care kit. So it's just
Right.
gonna a little leaflet that goes in with it. It's like a postcard really, and it tells you to swell, season, sample, and serve. And just try and keep the basic cask maintenance. I dry them out, like there's quite the drying process involved. Like that's a shell that I have made up kind of weeks in advance. I make the batch because I want to dry these shells out more and
Yeah,
more and more, get the hoops on, get the heads in, get the tap on. So when I swell it here, it swells up. I wrap it, and as it goes to the customer, then like they're opening it and it is ready to go. But she's built for service. If it was just for like display, it would be glue and almost a piece of furniture and something just to look at, like,
yeah,
because these are literally made the exact same way that I would make a 200 liter or a 500 liter cask. They have to be treated the same. So they have to like not dry out. You swell them up. You can see the char inside in it. It's the
yeah.
same
Oh,
as a cask. This is a heavy char, but I get a brush on a drill and we actually drill them and do another couple of steps. So basically, when you sample out of the tap, it's not this black discolored liquid. It's not filtered, but it's a clean char, like.
yeah,
So yeah, you swell them, and then the season. So basically, anything you put in the cask, you're seasoning the cask as well as the cask is aging your spirit. Then you have sample, use out of the tap, take notes. I think people would probably like that as well, like tracking what they're doing and just taking notes, coming back to it a week later, coming back
yeah.
to it a month later.
Well,
The American oak first.
everyone loves to sample their product.
Exactly, like, and that's the problem. It's closing the tap and leaving it in so you can try it in
Yeah,
a week again is the issue. Like, but no, and then it's like they're built for service. They're sturdy out, but they are high performance. So if you forget about it and leave it for a couple of months, you're going to overdo it because of the size of it. If it's a case that you're looking to age something for a couple of months, 6 months or 12 months and leave it there, we'd recommend going up in size then to 10 liter, a 20 liter pin, or a 40 liter firkin if it's a whiskey club and stuff like that, like,
yeah,
But it's the education and trying to bridge it because I've so much like wood types that I've gotten invested in over the years to use. Like we would use the staves I was showing you a while ago. That's the American oak with the
yep.
tide line soaked in there. We have the European oak, which is again soaked in sherry. These are actually specifically seasoned in sherry for 2 years before they hit the whiskey market, just so they
Oh,
can mature
brilliant.
whiskey in it. And then they spend decades maturing the whiskey, soaking into that. They get sold off. We buy them from multiple distilleries, and that's what we're trying to preserve. Like that's literally the seasoning that's going into our products. Like.
Okay.
Um, that's the European oak. That's the American oak again. Oh yeah, stuff like this. So this is a wine cask, French wine. Again, the wine is soaked into it. If you can see the white
Yeah,
kind of dust on
yeah,
top of it, they're
yep.
actually the sugars from the wine and growing back on it. It kind of crystallizes on the inside of the cask. So that's French oak, wine seasoned, and we medium toast it, so it basically caramelizes those sugars. The smell off it is unbelievable when you're toasting these ones. But absolute banger of a wood, and the whiskey that lads are producing at home with this is phenomenal, like. So again,
Yeah,
to bridge the market of getting the American oak, the European oak, and the casks, and then when you're talking to clubs and more connoisseurs, we get into the deeper details of the French oak or even something like the chestnut. Chestnut. We have a bit of chestnut there as well, things like maple. But again, the rabbit hole, it just keeps going, man.
yeah, of course. And it's even as you say of doing the home experiment, but especially for specialty things for whiskey clubs and
Yeah,
stuff, it's great. It's great to have that sort of unique
yeah,
experience for the members and
yeah,
um them sort of not experiences, but them sort of opportunities to be able to get something like that and do their own project.
yeah, 100%. There was a club. There's two lads called up from again. There's a lot more private clubs out there than I knew or that people would think I'd say. Obviously, a lot of it's public, the stuff on social media, but a lot of people are private about it. They have their stuff that they love and they want to keep it private, and that's cool. When the two guys came up and they were having a look through, we literally honed in. They were telling me about their tastings and what their club seems to like in terms of a Venn diagram. Yeah, there's fellas that love grain, yeah, but we all seem to converge around the pot still. And we all seem to converge around this age and this cask type, a sherry cask, finished in a sherry cask. So I took them through the wood types. We got out a sherry cask. They actually got to pick out the staves themselves, made up a 40 litre firkin for them. And same, I think they were doing a 6-month finish in that cask for the big like 10-year event that they had for their whiskey club. And like that's the type of stuff that we're doing. So yeah, look, you can get casks out there. You can get cheap little barrels online that are mass produced. But they are not going to do anything like what our casks are doing for people and what they can do for themselves then with them,
Yeah, of course. And I need to invest in one because I do have one of these cheap ones, but it was like a birthday gift
Yeah.
from someone a couple of years back. And do you know what I've just used it for? Do you know like
What?
an infinity bottle?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sick. Oh
Hey,
man.
I haven't I haven't
Yeah,
tried it. It's
yeah,
been sitting there. It's been sitting there. I don't know, probably a year full,
yeah,
and I haven't tried it.
yeah.
I give someone I worked with a sample of it. Said, "Here, try it and tell me what you think."
Yeah. Did he go for
I was like, "Oh, that wasn't too bad." I was like, "Fuck,
it?
better you than me."
A lot of them, there was some being imported into the country and sold as Irish casks, I suppose. And in fact, they're being mass produced. We got one of them, we opened it up. This thing was glued together. The head had glue in it. The shavings were coming off the brass on the inside of it, and it wasn't even charred. So it was literally poison, like, because it needs to be charred to open up the bio compounds inside in the wood so you can actually extract them. And literally, without that process, it's not a functioning cask. It's just putting like toxic levels of tannins and everything into it and just destroying the whiskies out there. So it's a problem that we're happy to fix for people, but there is an education thing of, yes, I know you can buy a barrel for €100, but bring it up here, let's open it up and I'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely. I have to invest in a proper one.
ideally, we're hoping to start customization now as well in the next month or two as well to get engraved heads for events or clubs or logos and stuff like that. But let me know whenever you're thinking for one for yourself, and we'll dial in on the size, time wise, what you're looking for, and also your own kind of influences. What would be your kind of go-to wood types? Have you ventured out kind of that far into the?
Wood tapes, I do like European oak.
Mm,
Um, I do like the American,
yeah,
but it's more on my finish, which is sort of Oloroso.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely. Yeah.
that's Oloroso finished whiskey. That's where I'm at. Like,
Serious stuff, yeah. Have
but
you ever have you ever tried a Amontillado sherry?
yes,
Savage. Do you like it?
uh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's lovely.
yeah,
But I also don't mind Palo Cortado.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The sweet one, like,
But yeah, but I know loads of people go for the Pedro Jimenez, but
yeah,
I'm 100% more on the Oloroso side.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I like the Amontillado because it's very kind of heavy, nutty flavors, the darker oak flavors and stuff like that. So same, I'd be heavy Rioja, heavy pot still. Amontillado when it comes to sherry, like, but if you're in the kind of Oloroso range with the European oak and stuff, there is a kind of thing in my head of how you bridge that wood type. Like, there's a couple of wood type flavors that I'd pick out that I'm sure that you love because that's your palate, like.
Yeah.
Especially a funny one there would be chestnut, I'd say. Have you tried any chestnut finished casks or chestnut finished whiskies out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Method Madness.
Oh, banger.
Yeah, I had when did I have I actually run a whiskey club too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's not just this Instagram and the podcast.
Yeah,
I've been running a whiskey club in Moira, just
nice.
outside Belfast, for
Savage.
for over 2 years now.
Yeah,
So yes, I actually had a Method Madness tasting. So that's we
beautiful.
had the chestnut.
Nice. One of my favorite bottles to recommend to anybody because it changes people's idea of what the wood does as well, like to a cask, you know.
Yeah,
For what chestnut can do in 12 months or 6 months, in a 250 liter cask is outstanding, like, you know, as a
yeah,
performance of a thing. So we're getting into smaller chestnut casks. It's a higher porosity. It's a very interesting game trying to miniaturize real product into small products, like, you know, when it comes
yeah,
to every single thing. I wanted actual miniaturized to scale and stuff like that, but when it comes then to like the wood that is more porous, like a chestnut, there's only a certain thickness or thinness limit stave that you can have and things. So it's really fun. Like there's a lot of failures in trying to figure out something that works, like, you know.
yeah. Well, that's where the knowledge
Yeah,
is feeling and then realizing, okay, now I've got this on point.
yeah, absolutely.
Also, just as you were saying there, popped in my head, I do just love a Virgin American Oak
Yeah,
finished whiskey. Like
yeah,
recently, I had the at Whiskey Live actually, I had
yeah.
the Bushmills 1999 Virgin American Oak.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was unbelievable,
It's yeah.
unbelievable.
It's that heavy upfront flavor from a lot of people would associate that with bourbon because they're thinking of the American oak flavors and stuff, like, you
Yeah,
know. But dialing that up is I love that, like, you know.
yeah. It just gives almost like for me a true representation of what the wood can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to a guy that had a very similar view that you did there, and you're just after reminding me because he instead of experimenting like, oh, what can this wood type do to this? No, no. I want a true to spirit bourbon and I want to finish it in a miniature American oak cask to just dial up the American oak flavors.
Yeah,
He did the exact same with the European oak, a sherry finished whiskey, and just dialed it up with the miniature cask finish on the sherry. He gave me a text and he said, this is better than I even imagined it could be because he just wanted that one lane. He's a purist. He's a purist to the techniques and the craft and what goes into making the spirit. So he didn't want to cross the bourbon into European oak. He wanted absolute true spirit, purest method. He got it and he was absolutely delighted. So I think you're probably around the same line an American oak little miniature would do you for dialing that up, but you also
yeah.
seem to like those sherry sweet
I know.
influences and the pot still with the chestnut finish and stuff like.
Exactly. I like a lot, but
Yeah,
I have a very, very sweet tooth.
yeah,
But I do love the fact of seeing something at its almost purest form,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just like that Virgin American oak,
yeah,
just in that cast, see how the new make
yeah,
reacts with the wood, and seeing what that end product comes out as. It's just
yeah,
without, because you know yourself, without a great liquid going in and good wood, you're not going to get a great product. But
yeah,
you can have bad liquid and just drench it in sherry
yeah,
or drench it in other flavors, and you can maybe salvage it.
yeah,
But just seeing that purest
mm,
form of that good new make
yeah,
in with good wood, and to
mm,
see what the reaction of
mm.
it is, oh, unbelievable.
It's amazing. You remind me of Japanese woodworking because, like, even though I'm at this every day, like I'm at this for my whole life, it feels, and I'm so far down the rabbit hole, but I still can't not watch Japanese woodworkers doing the same thing to the purest form. So like they'd have these little miniature scrapers making these tiny little staves with little coopered cups and stuff like that, but they're literally just over and over and over again practicing the one technique of a scrape. That's it. Like just to make one little coopered vessel, but to its absolute purest form. Whereas I'm like, I've got my earbuds in, I've either got tunes playing or a podcast on, there's dust flying everywhere, I'm making loads of things, I got the charring fire going outside, like, you know, I'm making them to the best possible quality that I can make to represent our family and our business. But I'm thinking of those guys as it's doing, like, oh, I could see myself abandoning all this and just making one cask for the next year and making it absolutely
Yeah.
perfect. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's exactly. You just go for absolute perfection.
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
So I've a couple of more questions, obviously, for you is,
Go for man, great chat. So I'm enjoying the catch up there as well. So,
me too, oldest cast you've worked on.
oh, oh, I'd say the
What's
I
it?
have a year. I have a couple of casks that I know that for a fact that they're the oldest proven casks, that they were the oldest of that date. But I think I probably worked on casks older than that without the evidence of it when I was working in Scotland. Because some of the casks coming out of the
Yeah.
warehouses in Scotland, like these things had, it was crazy, man. But some of them actually had lead paint on them. Yeah, to try and stop. There's always this angel share experimentation in the industry. People waxing barrels, wrapping in
Uh,
cling film, just strangling the barrel from breathing and being able to mature the
yeah.
whiskey. Like, but
Without
there
just
was
wrapping cling film.
yeah, there was some cohort of lads in Scotland one time thought it'd be a great idea to paint the barrels in lead paint. So we had to mask up with these big gas mask looking things to scrape the lead paint off the casks. Like, what year was that legal to do? Probably
Yeah.
before 1960s, like, you know what I mean? You would be
Yeah.
thinking, I don't know. But the oldest casks, proved, man, it's what I've been doing for like the stuff that I'm doing here now in terms of like bringing back traditional vessels and heritage casks and stuff. The fact that I get to kind of like show this and display this and tell people about this is amazing. Because what I've been doing for like 13 years, a lot of it is hush hush, top secret.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we can't tell kind of thing. But all of my work is hidden in warehouses around the world, with my name stamped in it, but to the absolute perfectionism that you're trying to get on every single vessel. It
Yeah.
wasn't about sharing it. It wasn't about people knowing the work and stuff. It was about me playing my part in this vessel's journey and keeping this cask in service as
Yeah.
everybody else for decades before me has done, sometimes to the same vessels that I get to work on, you know?
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And to think, like, what, 50 years ago,
Mm,
at the last time basically that cast seen light,
yeah,
and the people before you that worked on it, that's
yeah,
amazing. Like, working
mm,
on basically a piece of history, and
yeah,
then obviously the fact that there was something that came out of it,
yeah.
bottled and sent on somewhere.
Amazing and enjoyed again, like, you know. And like I'm finding that now as well. Owen Reardon, woodworker in Ireland, came and visited family Cooperage there a couple of weeks ago, and he brought a miniature 5 liter cask that
And
he back. Sorry,
who's that?
Owen Reardon. He's a woodworker guy online, YouTube channel, Instagram,
on
big
on
account.
TikTok?
Yeah.
He makes all his tools and all.
All wood. He actually made me this shillelagh.
Oh yes, I love him.
That, yeah. So he makes shillelaghs. He does a lot of Irish craft stuff.
Yes,
Big craftsman, very well
I
represented
no,
now in the
I'm
country.
a, I'm a big fan of his.
Good. He did a video a couple of weeks ago. He actually visited me in family Cooperage here. He bought a 5 liter cask at Blarney Car boot sale that was falling apart, knocked down. He bought it a couple of years ago. He tried repairing it. He brought it up here. You should watch the video. You'd like the video,
I
I'd say,
will.
if you like
I'll
his
definitely
stuff.
get on that.
And it literally it's explaining what we're doing here and repairing the vessels and keeping these vessels alive. So he brought it up. There was wax poured on the inside of it. It was varnished on the outside of it. It was in an awful state. But you look through all of that, and there was this beautiful 5 liter. I believe it was made by a French cooper because of the techniques, the style. There was also flower padding inside in the crows, which is I've only ever seen in France, like, you know. So this thing could have been from the 70s, brought over here, bought as a present, then sat in a pub, started falling apart. Somebody tried to pour wax into it to hold it together. Somebody tried to varnish it to make, but it hasn't held whiskey in decades,
Yeah.
like, you know. brought it up here, repaired it. We spent 6 or 7 hours working away together. Got the whole thing turned around, he made a stand with it, and she was serving whiskey in Gugambara at a wedding a couple of weeks ago. And that vessel is now back in service full time with another craftsperson who makes, his name is Fiacrua Timbercraft. Mihal, he makes axe handles for axes. He loves whiskey. He's gone aging, maturing whiskey at home and that now, and she's back in service. Like, that's the stuff we get to do because the family cooperage and household coopering is back, you know? Like, and on the back of that, because that video went out, started getting hit up by a few people who had these vessels sitting in their house. Like, hey, I have a 40-litre firkin here, lovely frame, built up. He sent me pictures. He said a cooper in the North Mal distillery about 30, 40 years ago, made it for his father. His father brought it home. It only had red whiskey once, they never filled it again, so it's dried out. He said, I've been looking at it for 40 years. Can you fix this? And I said, absolutely, bring it on away.
And North Mal, that used to be a part of Middleton, didn't it?
Yeah, Cork Distilleries Company.
Yes,
so
just
my great grandfather actually worked for a Cork Distilleries Company as well. He was the chief blacksmith down there.
just the only reason I know is because I listened to Lloyd O'Dwyer, his whiskey chats,
Yeah.
and he had your woman Carol, the
Cara Quinn.
yes, the
Yeah, lovely
archivist
lady.
for
Yeah.
Middleton, and
Yeah,
she was talking about it and talking about Cork Distilling Company, and
yeah,
it's the most recent episode, and then she mentioned North Mal. Now I've
yeah,
never been to Cork, so I don't know.
yeah. And the
But
Normal distilleries closed years. There was a big fire. Didn't close down because that, I think, but one of the vats was damaged. They knocked one of them. I actually have some of the vat wood there. 2 seconds. So the old, like, or the 100,000-litre vats, maybe not as big, probably, but either way, that's some of the wood. That's the oak vats. So, do you know the big vats that I have up in Bow Street or the old distilleries and stuff, the wooden ones? That came out of the North Mal. So it was fully fledged distillery. They had a cooperage there, and lads on the benches doing repairs. The guy who was bringing up this barrel to me, I think his father, grandfather, and uncle all worked in the North Mal distillery before it was closed. So he's just blown away the fact that there's a cooperage up and running that is doing miniature, small repairs, firkins, and he now gets to bring his family's cask back. Well, he'll bring it out here and we'll put it back into service. He's going to get it filled and it's going to be in the family for generations again, please God.
it's amazing. It's
Do you know?
amazing that you got, obviously people having them reaching out and now can get
Yeah.
them repaired and
Yeah.
back into use.
The same, the butter churns where we were on about earlier. That's one style churn. That's the plunge churn. There's a tumble churn, which is like, it's almost like a tabletop one, and it's a barrel with a it's like a wooden washing machine nearly, and you turn the handle on the outside, the thing spins and turns the butter on the inside. There's a business run by the council up the country. They're looking for a recreation of 2 of those, I believe. So it's like there's a demand there. They're making butter, they're doing displays with it, they're doing courses with it, and they're like, we're so busy, we could actually do with another couple. So it's like, yeah, people actually need churns again, and they want to go back to the traditional style of stuff, you know. More than happy to be bringing it back, man. The fact that they get to bring these vessels back to life is just mind blowing.
Amazing. No, definitely, it's amazing that as we've already said, that people are after the traditional style of things again.
Yeah, for sure.
So we talked about your oldest cask, but what would you say has been the hardest wood type you've worked on?
Depends, because it means a lot of very different things.
I don't
difficult,
mean like
yeah.
I mean like difficult to cask and to maybe stop leaking.
Maple. So we did this project a couple of years back. There's maple casks made, and I was given a heads up by the cooperage that made them in the States. Hey, we're sending these over. They're absolutely terrible. We basically just made 200-litre filters. And you're the guy that gets to deal with them. So sorry about that and best of luck. Because like, no bother, love a challenge, bring them on in. So maple is basically high porosity, which means when it soaks in, it just keeps on soaking and it'll wick all the way through. Um, they did, in fairness, make filters. So if you fill this with 200 liters, it just started pushing through. Wasn't the stay, wasn't the joints. Doesn't matter what you do about the crows or the head or like anything. It's not the actual structure of the barrel. It's the structure of the wood itself will not hold liquid. So that was a challenge because I had to figure out how do you make a wood that won't hold liquid. So thankfully, I had a lot of kind of samples there of wood that wasn't working, but I would get an individual stave. I don't know. We'll say if this side of the stave, 3/4 of it was just pushing whiskey or water through, I would trim the good part out of it and just save that part. And I would test every single piece of wood and just save the non-porous best parts. And then out of that wood, I was able to combine all of it together, rejoint it, basically make brand new barrels from scratch with it. Do the same with the heads, cut out the porous part, take the best of it. Frankensteined 3 beautiful casks that were made of maple under the Method of Madness range as well, and released on Whiskey Exchange. So that was definitely one of the funnest challenges. And I mean, it was fun. Like, it was not frustrating. It was like this. If this works, it's going to be brilliant. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to love it. Like, so I really enjoyed the making of it and doing it. And it was actually a very good learning curve for me. I didn't realize how much I'm actually going to be using maple down the road, which I am now in terms of the food industry, food safe casks, butter churns, butcher blocks. You know, like in butcher blocks, they use the end grain of the maple so they can scratch it up and stuff. I learned a lot through that very difficult process that turned out quite successful, that also brought very, very good information with me into the future, you know. So that was a cool one.
Well, it's amazing that, because just as you said about the food safe element, and I know you said that earlier, but that's what I'm sitting there thinking is I wouldn't even have thought that, you know, of food safe wood. Like I have a wee, I'll show you. I got given, my wife and I got given this as a gift, from family at our wedding, and we have it. It's sort of like a
nice.
engraved.
Lovely.
True, or almost like a I use it as like a big charcuterie board.
Nice. Gotcha.
So that
and
would
the bigger the board for that, the better as well, you know.
Well, listen, I like my meat and cheeses. So
yeah. Is it maple like?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you.
Or something.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we use that, and the only instructions I remember that was in it was to use a what was it, a neutral food oil
Yeah.
rub over it,
Food
and
safe mineral oil,
yeah,
and same with like the kind of sauna culture that's grown across the country as well recently. You see a lot of cedar, cold plunges. You see the inside of them being lined with cedar or maple. There's a big push to get plastic chopping boards out of kitchens. Because when you cut and scratch them, there's these microplastics going into your food. Whereas literally, if you just go back to the natural way of things and use something like maple in your kitchen, you're being completely food safe. And you're also looking after your knives and your food and your family a bit more, like, you know.
Exactly. Like I used to work in kitchens, and yes, of the for food safety, they always had plastic, but it used to kill me when going into people's houses and they had a like marble chopping board. Like,
Stop. Yeah.
What are you doing, man? What's the chopping board? And like, no wonder your knives are blunt, because you just
You're trying to saw into a quarry there.
I know, like you're just hitting the chopping knife off a better stone. Like what's that about?
Yeah, I'm finding that with the tankards actually as well. People are getting back onto me and saying that it's a completely different drinking experience in terms of not just what they're feeling and stuff, But like compared to, geez, the bottles we have now, with the plastic caps that stay on the oaks, like just,
Oh,
oh my God, just so intrusive to anybody's life, like,
I know. It's
But
like,
that's what we're comparing it to, picking up a wooden tankard and putting it to mouth, smelling the wood, tasting the beer, compared to these caps that are scratching our face off, like.
that's what I was going to say, taking the nose of you when you try and take a drink.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Right.
back to the wood, I actually thought you were going to say Mezzanera because
Is
I've
an
heard
arrow?
it.
Nah,
Yeah,
nah.
I've heard it. Is it very porous?
It's different, but on a scale of oak, yes. On a scale of wood, no. On a scale
No.
like compared like in the oak family for sure. Yeah, yeah, it's on that end of the scale. But when it comes to actually working on it, hitting it with an adze, cutting it, having it up on the draw a horse with a shave or with a draw knife, shaving it and actually putting blade to wood, no. Oak sits in a very nice range where you know where to have your tools, how sharp, what angles, what energy you're going to be using to pull through it, like. And I mean that from literally like how much muscles do you have to engage at what capacity to be able to pull through and slice this wood type. Once you're of good technique and have really good sharp tools, oak is very, very, very lovely to work with. It can be frustrating if you don't understand the mechanics of that. But in terms of Mizunara or Gariana or Cecil Oak or Rober or Alba, no, they all fit in a nice, for me anyway, they all fit in a nice range of I know what capacity I need to work on this wood type.
Yeah.
Whereas then when you get to beech, when you get to maple, when you get to hickory, they all then are fitting into different categories. So much more easy working on maple when you have the nice grain because you're pulling clean through. But if that grain turns, you're in a lot of trouble with maple. So it's this fun game, man. It's each one has a character that you need to work with on either the horse or on the saw or with the adze. You actually kind of need to know as you're swinging what you're doing or what to expect when you're coming down on it.
Yeah. No, that's amazing that there's such different characters each because
Oh,
people
100% sure.
like especially when we've been talking about whiskey and finishes and different type of woods for whiskeys, but just the
Mm,
fact that people don't get that there's so much different characters and different
yeah.
types of wood.
Do you know, I found a fun way to look at it actually was the smoking and barbecue world. Because like a lot of the wood types that we use are transferable between food industry.
Yeah,
So chefs know what it's like to smoke with oak. They know the character that they look for because that's what we're looking to impart. Literally the smoke, character from the oak, we're looking to glaze it and impart it onto the food. Same thing with whiskey, we're just doing it with a soak rather than a smoke.
yeah. Because
I think
I just sorry,
what?
just as you're saying, I have a wee cocktail smoking kit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, you get the wee wood chips.
Yeah.
So you have like I think there's I think there is I think there's cherry wood, I think
Mm,
there's maple,
yeah.
and there's a couple others in there. But
Mm.
as you're saying about smoking,
Yeah. I've always been interested in those things. It creates a smoke that sits on top of the cocktail as you're serving, like, is it?
yeah,
Perfect. That's exactly why, because you're literally giving that sensory experience
just
to
trying
almost
to
prime
infuse it
you
a bit.
for the cocktail. Yeah, same as smelling the barbecue as you're smoking the meat for the day. Same as nosing the cask or the glass. Like whatever notes you like in barbecue meat or in food, I find does transfer over to the whiskey as well and into maturation. Because same with maple, if you like maple or you like hickory, all of them are possible in casks and to impart flavors into liquid as well as food, like.
Yeah,
And it's been
unbelievable.
like an age old, like we've been preserving food in barrels with salt or preserving them by smoking. Like in terms of like the human palate and dealing with oak and smoked oak and those flavors, we've literally built ourselves for it.
Yeah,
Sorry, flies.
no, you're all right.
Sorry, the rabbit holes do go on, man. I'm deep in this now for a long part of my life, so it's nice to be able to dive
Yeah,
deep on it too, like, you know.
it's great to learn a bit more, and that's what I was going to ask because you had sort of said earlier about woodworking and then about like you could show some woodworkers Cooper's tours and they wouldn't have a clue.
Mm.
Do you have a couple of tours you could show us?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Just to sort of give us like obviously for people watching and
Mhm.
for myself is a wee bit of idea of what's what what's
Yeah.
entailed with it.
I'm wondering now, could I change the setup so you can actually see it on the horse as well?
Well, you can go ahead because we can
Okay.
cut to that bit.
Yeah, and even shot with walk out once we
It's
have
just
the
to give people, because that's what we're going
yeah,
to say to you obviously after is you can you, m- obviously it's up to yourself, but you should do a couple of wee educational videos
I'm
to
really like, and
show.
you know what? A lot of people have been telling me that for a long part of my life, and I'm at the point now where it is. But like, if I'd started it years back, the whole education bridge that would have to been bridged, all my time is going into it. But where we are now in the world, thank God, Rory Coopering is represented so well out there.
Yeah,
The Coopering content on social media that's going out there is unbelievable. Like the whole place is rising up and people are paying attention to it.
yeah,
So I think it does also provide a good space for household coopering to re-enter into the market as well.
yes,
So I could 100% spend all my time making videos about all of the rabbit holes that have been down with barrels, but it would almost just be for me to get the information out. Whereas what I think I need to do now is get the pertinent information of what we're doing, how casks and wood and vessels and getting them back into your home can change
exactly.
your experience, you know?
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. Like
Yeah,
as you say, there's videos out there of people doing the casts and people doing the brewery stuff. But
yeah,
if you show what you're doing for
yeah,
the household stuff, it
yeah,
would be a really interesting point, and it also will bring in almost a personal touch for people when
yeah,
they buy something, because
yeah.
then you can be they can see the full extent of what it goes through.
Of what being made exactly. And I put together a couple of reels on just the smaller parts or even the handles and the bung and stuff. So they're like quick videos, but I definitely need to start the voiceover and education ones. I think, all right, I think you're spot on there. Because there's so many rabbit holes or tangents off the rabbit hole. Just sticking with, as I said, the coopering side of things. So there's loads of ones that I could show you that people would recognize, but this is actually a Cooper's axe.
Let
The
me
side
some
axe. I
size.
got it off Ewan, the Cooper. He sent it over to me. I put a new handle on it. It's for listing the stave, so basically tapering an angle onto the stave, because in a barrel, the stave is equally as narrow on both ends and wider in the middle to give you the belly. So you do that with this. It's a splayed handle. So if you can see, that is one
Yeah,
way, but the handle is offset.
yeah,
Basically, when I swing down, it's keeping my hand to the side rather
yeah.
than in line with the axe if there's any slip. Um,
That's
so
that's
that's, I
some
don't know, can you
size.
see me? If I move up there now, I basically have a block here and I sit on that and I start.
Yeah, see how you're not in line. It keeps your hand off the side there.
Exactly. So both of my hands are off to one side of it and well out of the way, you know. And it literally is just to taper that angle off. So when you bring it to the jointer, we can actually see everything on shot there. Can you hear me all right, yeah?
Yep, 100%.
Nice happy days. You then, when that's tapered, you run to this hand jointer. Just you can see. There you go from the axe onto the planer. And I would literally just joint that for you. So when it marries up to the one next to it, it's all clean.
Yeah,
Again, all traditional techniques, you know.
yeah.
That's actually some of the French oak wine staves, so the wine is
Fine,
soaked
Steve.
into
Yep.
it. So whether it's making tankards or the barrels, process is the same. I take the staves from the used casks, list them with the axe, put the taper onto it, and then stick it up on the horse here. You then get your draw knife, which is common in a lot of most traditional woodworking. Pull that down, step on it.
So is that just like a clamp sort of you have
Pretty much, it's a horse. It's called
a
a
horse?
traditional, yeah, horse. This one's actually a mare because you sit down on it. It's a shave horse. So it's got like a little clamp and a little pedal that are built into it. So when you push the pedal, it'll hold
Oh,
the
okay.
working
So
piece
that
down.
yeah. Oh,
Does that
that's
make sense?
yeah.
And
No,
it's
that's
adjustable as well, height adjustable, so the small fella can make his projects on it as well, like, you know.
uh, and you don't
So
look a
that's
small fella.
yeah, exactly. He's mad working down here, to be fair. Family Cooperage, like, maple. So whatever wood type it is, it's still going up on the horse. And as I said, it would react differently. So I'll just show you that to start with. It's the external part of the
Yep.
stave. That's the inside. It's maple. I'm just going to shave a bit off the back of it. That's it cleaned up on the outside. And we're basically putting a kind of shape, a curved shape into the back of it. So the curve on the outside of the bar
Yeah.
remains the same. You also do the same on the inside of it. It's like a bit of a cup shape.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yep.
Convex, I suppose. That's this tool, which is a hollowing knife. It's unique
Looks
to
like
coopering.
looks like a pair of handlebars.
Yeah, but you know what? It turns in handlebars as well. Instead of being straight off, they're splayed down, so you can actually hold it down like this. Yeah, on there.
Yeah.
And it just puts that shape into it. I use to clean the staves, like the char off it, or actually for new staves, put that shape into it. That's just the top part of it there.
Yeah.
Just cleans it off nice, like, you know. So you're constantly
Yeah.
shaping all the staves to match each other. And again, it's all traditional style. That's some of the American oak. You can see the tide line
Yep.
into it. So what I'm actually doing is I'm preserving that. If there's kind of heavy char on it, I might just give it a little scrape, just take the dust off. We clean it after, and then the outside of it, we're taking off the back. So one, it's cleaning up the back, obviously, but it's putting more of that shape into it.
Yeah, more the curve in it.
More of a curve because it's going to become more curved as it becomes smaller, I suppose. But by taking it off the back and preserving that side, we're always working in and preserving the seasoning of the wood itself then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd be the main kind of, the hollowing knife and the Cooper's axe would be pertinent to Cooper's, I suppose. Oh, this, a crumb knife. So it's a long handle on one side for a lever. Basically, when you have the cask straight through,
Yep.
you can pin it up in that, stick this through it, lean in, and it gives me this shape then up the top of the crows.
Oh, okay.
So that has to be all perfectly rounded on the inside. So it's basically taking the shape of the bevel and putting that in unison the whole way around the cask, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now, man, there's a lot of really cool ones, but again, it's the same stuff. You bring a Cooper from 400 years ago if you want into here, he'll be able to pick up all these tools and do what I'm doing as well, like, you know. We'll eventually then get down to, this is one that's in the making, so she just needs to be cleaned up. They're one of the miniatures. She's got to go back up to get these going, but they're in, I suppose, the same. This one's a 2 liter, this is a 1.2 liter, but they go through the same process to make those individual staves traditionally. Put them up and put them together so that. Pretty sweet, man. Any other kind of thoughts or questions or examples?
So I've always wondered. So see at the top of the stave, you have that sort of groove in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you use for that?
A crow's board. So this gap here, this groove is called a crow's. This whole part of the stave, just this top part that has all this shape, this profile, is called a chime. And in the chime, you have, I suppose, the bevel. You have that's what the crumb knife does, this flat surface here.
Yeah.
And then you come along with the crow's board and you put that groove in. So I'll show you an example. On here, I'll show you 3 examples. So this one would be very industry prevalent in all the repair cooperages across the world and the country. You would slide this along the top of the cask as the cask is together, and these cutting teeth would go in to cut that groove. So it's basically sliding back and forward, scribing, and then ploughing, it's called.
So would that be when the cask is
in a shell?
finished?
Yeah, so if you have a 200-litre big cask like this,
Yeah.
it would basically be exactly like this.
Before you put the top and the bottom on?
And then you put, yeah, exactly. And you close it then like this. But obviously, this is quite huge. But
Yeah.
that size cask. So I made this little one, which is
class.
out of a bandsaw blade and a couple of pieces of wood and a screw. And it's the same thing, but you can actually do it one-handed. And you literally run it around like that. I made another one then for longer vessels, so like the churns, they're quite long to get to one side of it. You would actually go through one entire vessel. You'd hold it here, give your hand out the other side of the vessel, and you still have control. It's just basically an extended version of the same tool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Quite specific to each task, I really find, especially with the miniature vessels and stuff. Coopers always kind of make a lot of their own tools. When it comes to the smaller bits, I have a couple of blacksmiths in Cork that have made these tools for me. But you do have to be quite, I suppose, what's the MacGyver word? You got to come up with stuff on your feet quick, usually, to make a tool that fits the profile of the job you're doing, like, you know?
Yeah.
So
quite intuitive.
That's the word, something like that, yeah. We have, this actually is quite traditional, something on hazel. So instead of the steel hoops, we would actually use, before all the steel, they'd use hazel hoops. It's just a branch split in half lengthways and then notched together. But I had that in a sous vide, trying to steam it there last night. But we'd put that up on the horse and you'd do the same thing. You'd actually shave it down.
Yeah. Obviously, because you have to try and steam it to soften it, to mold
Steam it to soften it, to bend it around, and then you would notch one end through the other like a daisy chain kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you would make maybe 5 or 10 of those per side of the cask to bind it together. Like you know, Michael Fassbender, the actor.
Yeah.
His name is Fassbender. It means cask binder. So it's the Austrian equivalent for Cooper. The second name Cooper. So Fassbinder comes from cask binding because the way they used to bind the casks was with hazel hoops. Loads of them on either side and would bind the cask together.
Yeah.
Just a tidbit there of Michael Fassbender for no reason.
There we go. Learn something new every day.
That's it. I might bring it back up here if that's all right.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, thanks very much for showing us those wee bits and pieces. I might have to take a trip down and spend a day with you.
Absolutely, but it's actually fairly enjoyable having people to the workshop now. Because it's literally like this. Let's get to talk about what you're into, what you like, and find out what works like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It fits into our family very well, if I'm honest as well. The kind of traditional lifestyle, the traditional job, like all the shavings from any of the machine bags or the shavings from the floor, they either go into smoke the meat that we hunt, or to, have you ever heard of tanning, leather tanning?
Yes.
We use the oak shavings to tan leather from the deer, to make leather from the deer hides that we hunt. So it's a very kind of circular traditional lifestyle that we're living, like, you know.
So do you hunt deer?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, my family's full diet would be wild game, like, for the last 10 years, I'd say.
Oh, flip me, amazing.
So same like the aprons that we use in the shop, the shavings that come out of the shop go to tan the leather or smoke the meat. We have a small holding where we do animals and poultry and stuff as well. Just kind of self-sustainable living between energy, food, vessels, coopering. Do you know?
Unbelievable. I've been trying to not obviously the same, but try and do a wee bit more sort of gardening in the way of like I've had this wee plant behind me. I've had
Yeah.
this for I would say probably 6 or 7 years, but this is my chili plant, and every year like I am starting to get quite a few
Starting to come true.
quite a few wee chilies off
Nice.
'em.
Look at that.
And here I do use them. And they actually this year, last year it wasn't great, but this year I've had quite a few offers so far, and they
That's
actually do
class.
come with some heat.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
Try
it
like
just
a greenhouse. Those in a greenhouse would absolutely burst as well.
I know. And I actually I've been trying to like I'm growing potatoes at the minute,
Nice.
and the last year I grew a lot of carrots. So
Yeah,
it's those wee things I'm trying to. I actually
yeah.
want to get I want to get some chickens, but my
Nice.
wife doesn't like birds.
Don't like birds.
No.
No other birds in the house.
No, don't.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about getting chickens because I live in the country.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
fucking
Chickens are very nice. Like chickens are very, very nice.
oh,
Going out collecting the eggs in the morning, having a
oh,
morning
free
chat
eggs.
like with the couple, like free eggs. But
Uh,
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. But here, just as you're saying about deer,
mm,
I have a terrible joke, but I'm going to tell you.
go on.
I was in Tesco the other week and I seen 8 venison legs for 25 quid. I thought that's
Elephants.
too dear.
That's two there. Yeah, two of them anyway.
I I tell that joke every time someone mentions
Deer. There's,
going in
uh,
Tesco's or buying something. I go, fuck, I was in Tesco's.
there's a fella inside, and I've seen him the last 10 years, I'd say, and every time he sees me, don't even have to say anything. That's the joke he'll tell. Have you been to Tesco to see what they have an offer, or Aldi, or whatever he says?
Well, I've been telling that joke. For see if I'm in work and I get anyone new,
Yeah.
as soon as I start, everyone else just goes off.
Ah, here we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here we go.
My
But
smart fella's like that actually. Every time my smart fella meets somebody new, he's like, "Oh, they haven't heard it yet." And
uh,
he goes, "Why are chickens so funny?" Why? Because. And he cracks
classic.
everyone up with it, to be fair. Like, but
I
that
know,
one's going around my head.
classic,
Weird.
classic. Flip me, yeah. You went off my chain of thought there with that
Good.
one. Um,
That just means we're having a good chat, lad.
yeah, of course. So yeah, so you just hunt deer and what else? Do you deer?
Just that kind of stuff. Oh, hunting wise,
Yeah.
rabbits, pheasant, goat, wild goat. There's a herd of goats that I've been working on there for the last few years.
Really?
Absolutely from Knockmeal Downs. Couple of hunting permissions out there, and presumably some goats got dropped off years and years back and broke out or abandoned, left out, and they've made a nice little herd for themselves, rampaging through people's gardens and turning everything up and through the farms and all that. So that was something I never thought that I'd actually be hunting, but an opportunity popped up. It was there, and some of like the nicest Rogan Josh I've ever had in my life was from a wild goat that came out of our cold room.
I do like well, I love lamb,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
We do a couple of lambs, mutton. We started with the lambs, but we actually found out that we prefer the mutton, so we raised a couple of sheep ourselves until mutton, and then go that way. So it's good, man.
that's
Uh,
amazing. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for deer,
yeah,
and I've always said I would love to hunt one, but
yeah, yeah.
you know,
I think that's the one biggest thing I've always brought into dealing with animals is the respect. Like we've rescued dogs for 15 years now. We have huskies. We used to sled them and the whole lot. But between animal husbandry on the farm and seeing wild deer and what they are to us changed our lives. Because like when I met my wife, she was vegan, So we've been on some journey to get to the point where she was vegan. I was considering vegetarianism to what's actually the most ethical, close to source way that we could source our own protein.
Yeah.
And that question then kind of turned into everything like energy, water from the well, food from our farm, protein from the hills, vessels from our own workshop. So it fits really well. The family cooperage fits really well into our lifestyle anyway, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Is your wife still vegan?
No, far from it.
Okay.
Lives off the wild game that we hunt and the food that we farm.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and that's where what it came down to was ethics. She didn't want to be buying from somewhere we didn't know, or what was happening in farm industry and different things like that or whatever. So it came out that the most ethical way for us and our decisions to source food was go down the hunting route and self-sustainability, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Very self-sustainable.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So, last couple of questions I have for you. They're
Sure.
whiskey-based questions. I
Yeah, yeah.
assume you're a whiskey drinker.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
I thought so. So, if you had to recommend one whiskey
Yeah.
for everyone to try, what would your recommendation be?
I think you mentioned it a while ago, but I think it's probably a broader point of why the Method of Madness chestnut finish pot still whiskey is an absolute banger of a whiskey,
Yeah.
and has remained in my top three since the day that it came out. It changed a lot for me as a cooper and as a whiskey lover, even understanding what I'm doing when it comes to wood and the influence that, because like that's a 12 month, less than a 12-month finish, I think, like, you know, on any
Yeah.
chestnut ones that are out there, and what it can do, the change that I saw in the flavor, the whiskey, the aroma, the whole lot, mind blowing. So I'd actually go a step further than just recommending the bottle. I would recommend the wood type. I would see if you see a chestnut, let it raise your eyebrow and go, huh, what does that do? Because what I've seen chestnut do to food and whiskey over the last couple of years has opened my horizons to what's actually possible. And it's made me kind of take a leap further into other wood types and using chestnut in different ways of food and smoking and stuff. So yeah, chestnut all the way.
Okay. I've I actually think I have a bottle upstairs.
Of the Method of Madness, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So a perk of the run of a whiskey club
Yeah.
is usually what's left over is for me because I
Superb.
I I usually don't drink it my tastings unless it's
Yeah.
like a celebration. So
Yeah.
then I obviously, depending on who it is, will say, "Hey, you take out."
Yeah.
And at the minute, I have an absolute cabinet full. So all
Nice.
the remainder is under our bed.
Lovely.
Only about 80 bottles or something.
You're going to be doing that blending class, oh yeah.
Well, that's the plan.
There you go.
Um, yeah. So I think under our bed there's a bottle. So I'm gonna
Nice.
have to dig it out because, as I say, when the tasting was on, I didn't taste it.
Yeah.
So I'd have to dig it out, and then I've made a wee note
Nice.
to keep an eye out for any chestnut wood whiskies.
Yeah, because it's a traditional use in Japan. They used to make big 600-liter drums and tons out of chestnut before. So it's been used historically in coopering and in the
Yeah.
industry and in different cultures and stuff. But the impact that I think it can have now in the food world and the whiskey world is, yeah, it's still growing and
And
it's going to be a lot more.
so just as you're saying that, I think Jameson Triple Triple,
Triple,
one of
triple,
the
yeah.
one
Yep.
of the ones have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Method of Madness as well was really the
Yeah.
first experimentation, and then comes
Yes.
along Jameson Triple Triple, and that is absolutely leading the world in innovation when it comes to chestnut and whiskey, like, you know.
Yeah. No, just when I was thinking there, what other? It just popped into my head.
Yeah.
So a whiskey that's on your bucket list, like oh, I've seen
Mm.
that. I would love to taste it.
Mm. Ooh, do you know what? This one is definitely on my bucket list, and it actually can't be on many people's bucket list because there was a guy visited Cooperage, our family Cooperage, about 6 months ago, and he got a 20-litre pin. So 40 litres of firkin, 20 litres of pin, probably about this size. And he requested that it was made out of heavily pre-seasoned wine staves. So it
Yep.
was French oak, really deep seasoning on it. We did a medium toast on the cask, and this caramelization, bubbling, and sugars was happening. The smell was absolutely insane. Just out of that cask, like I can only remember the smell, and that's saying a lot when I've worked on charring fires for like
Yeah.
13, 14 years. It so really stood out then. And then when he came back and collected it, he said, I actually changed my plan. And I was like, better not be about casks. He said, no, the casks are the same, but I just got my hand on 20 litres of poachine. Yes. So there is a 20-litre pin made of French oak ex-wine casks that is sitting somewhere in somebody's house in this country that has been aging poachine for at least the last 4 or 5 months. I would very much like at least a dram of that. A bottle would be amazing, but that is very high up on my bucket list at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're putting it out there. Whoever has this,
Whoever has it, bring
whoever
it
has
back to the
this,
sample.
send Killian a bottle of it.
Yeah, and I think that as well like explains really what we're doing and what can happen. Like you're talking about bucket lists, we've seen so many around the world, right? The first one that pops into my head is something so unique, nobody's
Yeah.
even smelled it. Like, what does poachine do in a cask? What's it do in a wine cask? What does it do on a heavily toasted pre-seasoned wine cask? I don't even know. But
What's
it's
it doing? What's it doing French oak?
exactly like,
It wouldn't be
yeah,
something that you
wouldn't be
can
something that would be put into a barrel at all usually. And
exactly.
no,
You
yeah.
wouldn't turn around and say, "Oh, I know it poaching from a French oak." Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't say it.
You wouldn't even know, and it's going to have this beautiful color to it because these staves were like saturated pink and purple, deep colors. Like, so it's going to be an unusual spirit, but I'd say it would be an absolute banger of a whiskey to try. And does it become whiskey? Is poachine whiskey after 6 months in a cask? I don't know. Who cares? It's going to be amazing.
It's gonna be an amazing spirit drink.
Yeah. And this is kind of the unique character profile I think that people can build for themselves. This guy knew what he wanted when he looked through the staves. Then he changed his mind. He wanted poachine
Yeah.
because he dialed in exactly his flavors. This is the same to a 1 litre, 2 litre, 5 litre, 10 litre, 20 litre, or 40-litre vessel. Pick your
Yeah.
wood type, pick your favorite stuff, come for a chat. Let's build it and let's make it. And like there's going to be, please God, hopefully there's going to be some really, really unique whiskeys, some really, really unique casks throughout the country that some people aren't even going to know are out there.
Yeah. Amazing. Now you've got me mouth watering here. Thinking about it.
Good, yeah.
Oh,
I've been thinking of that 20-litre wine pin with poachine there now a while, and you just reminded me of it as well, so I might have to dig back out his number.
well, we'll we'll clip that video and we'll put it
Yeah.
out as a plea to say, listen, I've done your turn here.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn.
Just a sample. No, to be fair, we had a good deal, good business deal. He got his barrel. I got my work paid, but by God, I'd love it. I'd love a glass of that, all right.
Aye, of course. So I take it you're down, I'm going to say countryside Cork.
Yeah. East Cork, yeah.
Okay. What would be your favorite bar?
Ooh. Oh. There's three. Right? I'm not going to think of any more because three just popped into my mind. When I
That's what I
go,
want. Is the
yeah,
one that pops straight in?
there's three and different occasions. So when I'm in the city, if I have lads, Cooper's boys coming over from Scotland, I have lads coming over actually in after we do a trussing ceremony in Scotland, I'd bring them to the Oliver Plunkett.
Okay.
You have the Frisky Whiskey Bar upstairs, which is also like a smoking area, a good place for the chats and a whiskey. But upstairs is going to be some trad music. And even though it's on Olive Blanc Street, it's one of the main bars upstairs. It's a beautiful setting. It's all wood. You've got trad music playing. You can have a whiskey and a stout, and it's just doesn't matter where you go after that. You're already in good spirits, like, you know. So the Olive Blanc for sure when I'm bringing people out in Cork City.
Amazing.
There's Desi's on Bear Island in West Cork is an unbelievably old pub, but one of only two on the island where you can get a drink, I believe. But we kind of half grew up in Bear Island with the grandparents' house down there. And I've just got a lot of memories, family memories, and memories with the grandfather, and after fishing trips going into Desi's pub for a packet of crisps at one point, but then eventually a pint and a packet of crisps as well, like, you know.
Yep.
So that's a banger. I don't even know, should I say the third, because it is where I believe the nicest pint of Guinness can be found. And it's local, and it's in Middleton.
We'll leave that hidden gem. You can tell me.
I think no name on that bar anyway.
You can tell me off pod.
Yes, I will show you that one in person where we're gonna sit down for a nice drink there, lad.
Of course.
But the other two definitely public facing, yeah, for sure.
So talking of nicest pint.
Yeah.
What's your go-to? Beamish, Guinness, or Murphy's?
Depends. If I'm actually at home, it's IPA out of a tankard. All the, you know, heavy IPA up on the hops, probably even a double IPA. Journeyman, blue bottle. They have a Master Cooper on the front of it. I believe it's an Irish brand. Absolute banger of an IPA, one of my favorites for sure. Mitchellstown 8 degrees.
Journeyman IPA.
Journeyman IPA, yeah. They've got like 4 different types, but the blue one is my favorite. There's purple, green, and blue and something else, but the blue one is an absolute banger. I actually moved on to that because do you remember 8 Degrees in Mitchellstown?
Yes.
They used to do the Castmates stuff with the stout and stuff with Jameson and all that. Owned by us. Right.
I have a bottle of the Jameson Crested 8 Degrees Black Ball Metric Stout.
Whoa, lad. That's OG stuff right there, like.
Sitting in my cabinet unopened.
Banger. Yeah, all that stuff.
And I actually was on Irish whiskey auctions the other day.
Yeah.
And they have it on one of their most wanted bottles.
Stop.
Yeah, I had someone off, like someone in a whiskey group. I am in. All the lads are from the south, and there's a couple of us from the north. And I had commented in, someone was looking for it, and I had actually wrote in that, blah blah blah, I have that. Guy texted me privately, I'll give you €100 for it. I was like, nope. He was like, why not? It was only €40. And the true one is because my dad and my auntie, who was over from New Jersey, and I were doing the Jameson Bow Street.
Yeah.
And we were sitting, and obviously after having, your whiskey and ginger, my dad doesn't really drink, so he was our driver, and he went into the shop and just doesn't really know much about whiskey, went and bought me it and brought it out and gave me it that day, and ever since I've been like, fuck, I'm not selling it.
Don't hold on to that one. That's a nice one. Because that's kind of the start of the stout finishes and stuff that you ended up liking. Is that like a
as I said to you about stout finishes, so it is. It's still sitting in there in the box.
Yeah, that's all right.
I've seen so many people put up about they're looking at it. Nope. But yes, 8 degrees. Yep. I know who you're talking about.
They did. I don't know what happened to them after, but they seem to have fallen off since, quality and packaging wise. But they used to have 2 IPAs. They were called Howling Gale and Session, and they were phenomenal. They were some of the nicest IPAs coming out of the country, full stop, I'd say. But after that, I think it stopped then with the cash transfer and all that, but I haven't seen them since. But no, it would be IPAs. I'd have a bigger list of IPAs, and then depending on the mood, I'd probably be mostly Guinness and the odd pint of Murphy's. Yeah.
Okay. Right,
Yeah,
that's the right answer for me because I like. Don't get me wrong. Up
mm,
here, you don't really get Murphys on
yeah,
draft.
yeah,
You don't really get many Beamish on draft either.
yeah,
There's maybe two or three bars in Belfast, but the most famous is the Duke of York,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you can get all three. But besides that, you don't really get any of them on draft. But I would obviously drink Guinness. But
yeah,
my go-to is if I had the three to choose is Murphy's.
yeah. Fair play.
Yeah, it would be like that's why I would buy tins. Now you can get in Tesco's up here, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still my parents have a caravan in Donegal, and
yeah.
anytime they're up in Donegal, it's could you get me some Murphy's?
Murphy's as well. That's brilliant,
Yeah.
man.
It's
That's
also
brilliant.
because you go into Tesco's and you get 440 tins,
Yeah,
and the ones you get in Super Value in Buncrana
yeah,
are
yeah,
586 or something. The pint
yeah,
size.
yeah, yeah. That'd be good, man, because if Murphy's keeps going and Cork takes over the stout game as well, like, draw, there's a
Yeah,
serious bid
exactly.
for the real capital then, like, we're not
And
messing
then
around anymore.
I was talking to I don't know if you've watched any of the podcast, but I had Barry Chandler on.
Yeah, how did that go?
Yeah, great. I had him on last week, but the episode went out on Thursday there.
It's on my listen
Um,
list there, right?
yesterday, and he was actually telling me that Beamish and Crawford family actually had part of their family actually had ownership of the Radman estate, one of the oldest estates in Ireland, which is
Yeah.
where Short Cross Distillery is based.
Oh, very
There's
good.
actually a monument on the grounds that says about the Crawford family, and apparently some of the Crawford family, I think I think what he said was stayed there, and the rest came down to Cork again,
Yeah.
and that's when Beamish and Crawford came together.
Stop.
Yeah,
That makes total
doesn't it?
sense. Yeah, I'd like to hear more of that from Shortcross.
Yeah.
And do you know
Well,
what?
see,
It's a nice.
see that's what I said. They actually they done um a Belfast Whiskey Week
Yeah.
exclusive
Yeah.
last year, and it was a 7-year-old single malt finished in Mourne Mountain Brewery Imperial Stout cask.
Oh,
Absolutely beautiful stuff. So
uh,
I have probably that much left.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a single cask run, but I have about that much left of the standard, and
Yeah.
I've put the cask strength up under the bed because
Nice.
I know
Yeah.
if it starts getting open, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and
Yeah,
funny enough, like I'd be a stout and a whiskey man, and a night or even just going out, and if it's just one, a pint of Guinness and a glass of Black Barrel, like that's
yeah,
me all day. And
yeah,
they're so lovely balanced as well. Like I know the stout finished whiskies, they have a nice twinge to it. I much prefer having the control of that myself, if that makes
yeah.
sense. Do you know what I mean?
See, I don't mind having like a stout and then having I don't know, like a Oloroso finish, something sweet, like
Yes.
say
Yeah.
you have Redbreast 12, or you
Yeah.
have like something sweet on the side of like the new Bushmills 12, which is I think it's Marsala finished.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you have that sweetness and with it. As I say, I have a terrible sweet tooth, so
Yeah.
I could sit and eat a bar of chocolate and be
Yeah.
drinking.
Oh man, you would love the Pedro Jimenez casks. Not just the Pedro Jimenez sherry itself or a whiskey that's finished
Yeah,
in a Pedro Jimenez cask, but when you actually open up, do you ever see those like geode rocks
yeah.
that you split open and it's like this crystal formation? That's what a Pedro Jimenez cask is like
Oh,
after
flip
5 or 10
me.
years, because and before the whiskey goes in, because it is so high in sugar and natural sugars, it
Yeah,
literally crystallizes on the inside of the cask. And there is these massive sugar crystals. It's literally glistening like different lovely sherry colors, but white crystals just shining, man. It's unreal. And in the rum industry, they're actually looking for that crystallization then to like not from the wood, but the flavor from that sugar and
yeah,
crystallization to pass on then, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, I think if I opened up a Pedro Jimenez cask for you, you might want to sleep inside in it because it is just it's sweet sherry and sugar, like it's lovely.
I have a
Yeah,
terrible sweet tooth, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Pedro
And
Jimenez smoothie, would be
well, here, I think we could be on to something here.
100%.
Pedro Jimenez whiskey jam.
Do you know, actually, when I was working in Spain, they had this klaxon would go off for lunch break. You had 15 minutes, that was it, to eat your food as quickly as possible back on the shop floor. Grueling work, like making big 500-litre barrels. But what I ended up doing was either I'd pre-make a pasta that was absolutely destroyed in Pedro Jimenez pasta sauce. So as I'm working, making these sherry casks out of European oak, I then go have my break and have this sherry-laden pasta. So when you just come back to work, then it's like, oh yeah, why am I smelling so much sherry? Oh yeah, because the food had like Pedro Jimenez mixed into the
Yeah,
sauce, like, it was a whole round experience, like.
that's amazing. Yeah, well, I think that's all the questions I have for you.
Fair play, man.
I've
Go
had
crack.
I had a great chat. I definitely have to get on and get my own wee cask off you.
Yeah, not about it, lad. It's all something out. There's mates rates there on discounts and stuff. So when you're looking at stuff, or if you want something that's not on the website, just give me a shout. Or when you're looking to
I
order, let me
appreciate it.
know.
Thank you
And
so much.
we'll send you on a proper discount because I appreciate this opportunity, as well, man. Getting the family business and all that out there.
Hey, it's my pleasure to get talking to you to learn a wee bit more. I've been following you on the Instagram and stuff, and they actually just say on the Instagram. Getting old.
But
I've been following you on Instagram.
yeah,
Yes, and stuff, and it was our absolute pleasure and an opportunity to get speaking to you.
delighted,
Um,
man.
to learn a bit more because I have been, as I said, I had messaged you about the wee cask and stuff, and so to get you on and learn a wee bit more has been an absolute great chat and great opportunity.
Yeah, no about it, man. I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. I love going down the rabbit holes, and I'm down the rabbit holes so long. I like guiding down the rabbit holes as well. And it's like
Yeah,
you don't have to go all the way down here, but just let me show you the cool parts. We'll do the whistle stop tour of 13 years of Cooper and
yeah, no, of
So
course,
it's cool,
and
man.
we can definitely get you back on when we do
Sure, but
a bit
absolutely.
more,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Like one of the things you sent on there as well. I appreciate sending on the questions just to see what's happening and all that crack. But one of the things you said about like what do you want in the future or want to achieve in the future. But obviously in that's a big question, but in the guise of coopering, And it actually was a nice question, man, because I was like, that's actually like I gotta think about that. Like what's
yeah,
the goal here? Like what is the actual future
that's
ach-
that's actually sorry that's my fault. That's actually one I didn't write down here.
No, it's all
I
good, man.
so let's actually cap back on that.
Go
So
for it, man, yeah.
what would be a goal out there that you want to achieve with it? Or
Yeah, like and sticking in the world of coopering, it is about bringing back the faction that was lost, like household coopering was lost. It's not like that distillery coopering just held on. There's nobody doing this stuff the last 80, 90 years in the country. So like an achievement for the business, an achievement for my family, an achievement for the trade itself, all kind of seems to now mean the same thing. And that's the journey that we're on. Like if I could see tankards back in pubs with publicans happy to serve a 500 ml tankard out of a tap. Like that's huge, man. And people want them. Like people want the pint-sized tankards to go to the pub. If we could get vessels, traditional vessels, back in people's homes, that's all I want, man. Whether it's the herring cask, the butter churns, whether it's tankards for drinking or miniature barrels for aging your own stuff at home and experimenting. It doesn't matter what type of vessel. It's as long as the household faction of coopering is having an impact in the household or in the pub. That's a huge goal for us, and hopefully we get to achieve it too someday.
yeah, no, that's amazing, and it's good to see because just just caught my eye there, and I'll actually bring it over so you can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as you're saying there about tankards and um the traditional vessels and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, these are wee things that I've created from a whiskey and pottery night.
Oh,
So
nice.
they're just wee whiskey vessels.
Yeah, yeah.
but it's just I say traditional sort of pottery. It's made from I think it's Donegal mud, and then
Nice.
there's a different type of clay in there as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, just as you're saying about traditional vessels and stuff,
yeah.
is some of the old style ceramic pottery ones that
That's
we
unreal.
create.
That's a cool night and idea as well because it's literally getting people's hands on making things. Like that's literally the flow that I love. Like when you get into that flow state and you could spend hours or days just melting into making something. The fact
Yeah,
that you're getting people's hands on making pottery while you're drinking whiskey and experiencing together, that's what it's all about, man, you know?
yeah. Well, we would do that every few months. So we have one coming up in August, but I say it's just as simple.
Nice.
You get to throw two
Yeah.
vessels on
Yeah.
the wheel. You get a pizza to start your night,
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
welcome drink, and a couple of whiskeys, and it's the
That's a
full night's activity.
that's a great night out.
And then you collect, I think it's about a month, and you collect your vessels after they've been tidied up
Fired and
and
all that shit.
fired.
Yeah. That's class, man. I
Yeah, it
have
just caught my eye there when you said about the traditional vessels. I was like,
yeah.
okay, we've done these and
Done
created
that,
different.
like that's exactly what it's about, man. I have a few things at the moment. I'm actually messing around with some goblets and chalices. So they're not coopered vessels, but just to make something, um, I suppose smaller and a bit more approachable is like a little tumbler made out of oak charred on the inside.
Yeah,
So it'll just be turned on the lid rather than a coopered vessel, like, you know. But
yeah,
again, it's just a case of trying to get some vessel that's made of wood with char and a drinking experience into the hand. If people aren't buying a tankard, but it's still like a tumbler, maybe it's an option there, kind of thing. And same
yeah,
like there's a few things here like that, just messing around with like a vase, just you know,
yeah,
it's too pitchy for a tankard. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So maybe don't need to change the pitch for the tankard, but hold on to it and put a head in it and make it a vase. Like if those are the vessels that we're getting out, fine, happy days. Like, you know, it's just the
yeah.
fact that these are coming back into the world is the main thing. You know what I mean?
Of course, of course. That's it's amazing. It's amazing the increase in people wanting the traditional stuff
Yeah.
again.
I'm
Like,
finding, man, we're entering a world where apparently, like, looks like most of it's going to be made by AI, like made by human is incredibly valuable, not like in terms of money. It's incredibly valuable to humans. Like, you know, if we
yeah,
lose creation, if we lose putting our hands to things and making things ourselves, I feel like we are going to lose a part of ourselves. So I hope and I feel that the rise, as you're saying, in support of crafts people, crafts, handmade goods, it's a backlash on that and it's bringing us closer again to who we are as humans, you know.
yeah, and obviously supporting local businesses
100%, man, yeah.
because people are very quick to spend money on multinational companies, but
Yeah.
won't support someone 15 minutes down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And like this is why it's so cool to have a family business, man. It's literally like it's our family to other people's families, supporting each other, supporting the community and the
Exactly.
trades in the country. Like it's
It's
yeah, man.
amazing, as you said earlier, that your pieces you are being ordered from all around the world now.
Yeah, unreal. Like I'm literally just like so hyper focused on what I do in a day-to-day basis that having my work actually going out around the world now and seeing that people want to see my work as well as experience coopered vessels and stuff. This is mind blowing, man. It's why I'm so happy to lean into it and I get to love and enjoy it every single day because people are out there now enjoying it too. And it
Yeah,
looks like it's only increasing, man. So I'm really happy to talk to you. I'm looking forward to getting your vessel to you and whatever cask you want to go with. But that goes for everybody that wants to start aging stuff at home too, you know.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Phenomenally. Thanks for your time again and the invite, man. I'm sure we'll be catching up soon. And anytime, obviously, let me know when all this is coming out or whatever. But anytime you want to reach out for a chat on a cask, if you're looking to order anything, just let me know and we'll set something up or whatever, man. All right.
I will do, of course, and thank you so much. And hopefully, get back on. We can do a wee workshop video or something.
Absolutely, man. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
100%.
great. Thank you so much, mate.
On
All
the
the
ball, Lee.
best.
Have a great day,
Yeah.
but all right. God
Bye.
bless. Bye, bye, bye.